This is the before. Gonna go to a new barber shop and check out the after. Yeah, fresh fade. That's much better. You ever think to yourself, hey, I messed up. I messed up bad. I messed up my whole life. I wish I could change. I wish I could be somebody else. I wish I could just leave and start over. What if I told you, you actually can? I did. Let me tell you about it. But first, you need to take this jacket off. It's hot in here. Ooh, freedom. That's the theme, freedom. Are you comfortable? In a good place? All right, that's much better. You're probably wondering how I messed up. Well, I actually started messing up when I was a teenager. I used to drink. I used to get out of school, go get drunk. I partied so much that I ended up in a military school. I got out of military school, messed up some more, joined the military, on and on and on. I worked in the service industry. So if you work in the service industry, you know how it is. You get your shift drinks, you go out with friends. I used to believe that if you're in the business of making sure that people have fun, catering to people having fun, that you needed to know how to have fun. So I would just go out and have fun. And this carried on for about 20 years. So I started getting overweight, underkept, very depressed, but not realizing I was depressed. Maybe deep down I realized I was depressed, but I didn't think about it that way. And then during the lockdown, it started to get really, really dark. I had a lot of friends die. Not from the sickness that was going around, but the other sickness that was going around. Most of them died from drugs or alcohol. And it was messed up too, because these people were all my age, living the exact same lifestyle as me. And I was pushing 40, thinking to myself, well, life's almost over. Like if you only live to be 50. I was like, whatever. I'm going over the edge. That's just where I was mentally. And then when people started dying with the same mentality, I remember laying in bed and thinking to myself, how come I'm not a millionaire? How come I'm still just renting a room? When am I ever going to become an adult? I'm asking myself this at basically 40 years old. And then it clicked. I can have anything I want if I can just move the pieces in the right place. So that day, I woke up and was like, I'm gonna change right now. So the first thing that I did was fasting for 3 days. I started researching on YouTube 72-hour fast and all this stuff, and a huge part of me is very masochistic, and I didn't have any money, and so I mean I could get alcohol or whatever I wanted to, but I didn't have any money at the time. I had a lot of work to do. So I just decided, you know what? I'm not gonna eat for 72 hours. So I did a bunch of research to see how healthy it was, and YouTube was a big thing for that. So I discovered that I could do it. So I fasted for 72 hours. People thought I was crazy. I actually am crazy. Still, I'm crazy. But it's cool. Anyway, I finished the 72-hour fast, and after I finished the 72-hour fast, because I went down the rabbit hole of fasting, I decided to pick up intermittent fasting. So I started eating a hamburger every day. And I started doing that every day for 3 months. Between 4 and 12, I would only eat food between 4 and 12. And I counted it as calories. And yeah, it was tough. But at the same time, I was so fed up with who I was and what I was that it was almost like I was giving myself a punishment. So I just kept doing it for 3 months, and my body started to change dramatically. I lost probably, I think it was like 60 pounds within those 3 months. I was up to about 230 pounds. And after it was all said and done, I was all the way down to my high school weight at 145. I look back at pictures after I lost weight and I was like, bro, you look kind of sick. But what I did actually worked for my self-discipline. So once I started working on my self-discipline that heavy, I was able to implement other things. So I started to exercise, and I was kind of lazy with the exercise, but I wanted to build a routine that I could go to work and get everything done. So I decided to exercise by doing push-ups for 1 minute, burpees for 1 minute, crunches for 1 minute. So I would pick different exercises that worked on each of my different, so I could have a different body parts, so I could have a full body workout. I did planks for 1 minute. Everything I did was for 1 minute, except for I would do as much pull-ups as I can, which at the time, I think I was able to do 3 or 4. Today, I haven't been exercising lately and I need to get back on it, but that's not what I mean. But anyway, I do like 10 pull-ups every day. So I would do the 1 minute exercise, and then I was watching all these different self-help YouTube things. Teaching Men's Fashion was one of my favorites. Alpha M was one of my favorites. The Gentleman's Gazette, because I was trying to work on style. I was trying to work on all kinds of different things. Funny thing that happens when you stop drinking alcohol, you save a lot of money. So after I saved all that money, I was like, what do I do with all this money? And so I went down a cologne and fragrance rabbit hole. I started collecting colognes, fragrances. I wasn't drinking alcohol, but I was smelling alcohol. So that was a little bit of a different positive habit that was helping me out. And I still just wanted to spend the money that I had. And it was kind of crazy because I never really thought about money the way that I do now. Back then, when I was thinking about it, I had money and I was like, I don't need all this money because all I gotta do is pay my rent and get myself some food. And if I'm not drinking, I don't need to buy that. So what do I have for expenses? I have coffee in the morning. I have my one meal. So I started stacking chips for sure. And then buying really expensive colognes. Then I had started buying jewelry, and I just kept watching YouTube to like figure out how should I dress? What's a capsule wardrobe? And I started learning all these different terms and how to dress. I'm pretty basic nowadays, but it was a lot of fun. Going to the mall, buying stuff, working on these brand new, better habits. And then I drank on like Thanksgiving, and then I drank on Christmas. And every time that I would have drinks, I would wake up the next morning feeling so bad. And I was also smoking cigarettes. And I could never, ever really, truly see myself not smoking and not drinking. There was like no way. I was like, I've been doing this for so long. There's no way that I'm not a non-smoker. I'm not a not drinker. Who am I gonna hang out with if I'm not drinking? Now, some of these things I would be telling myself. And I think watching people on YouTube really helped me out a lot, because it was like I found new friends. I felt like I knew some of these creators personally because I would watch their videos every day, because I wasn't going out. I wasn't partying. I wasn't drinking. I would go to work and come home, eat my meal, and watch YouTube videos about self-improvement. As much I became addicted to self-improvement, for sure. And then I decided my last day that I'm gonna drink is New Year's Eve. So I drank and I drank and I drank and I drank all by myself. And then I drunk dialed some girl that I liked and regretted it the next morning. I did all the things that last night. Woke up the next morning super hungover. I don't remember if I threw up or not, but I felt crappy. And anyway, that was the last time I ever drank, ever. I woke up in the morning regretting, but not regretting. Just being like, all right, cool. You got it out of your system. You're done. All right, cool. Time to change. And then I started, instead of listening to music, I would listen to audiobooks. I would try to make any of my time worth something. Moving to a different state is nothing new to me. I've lived in a few different states. I enjoy moving. I enjoy meeting new people. I wasn't afraid to leave San Diego. I know a lot of people, but it was really refreshing to be able to break away from old scenes, old habits, old people. I think I heard Snoop Dogg say it one time. He said, you can't heal in the environment that got you sick. And that could be true. But at the same time, I think that if you can keep your mind healthy and block out your surroundings, you can change. You can fix yourself. Just takes a lot more willpower when you're around the things that got you sick. But breaking away definitely helps a lot. And since I've made it out here, it's been pretty cool. I live down by the river. I walk to the grocery store via the river. It's beautiful out here, but I'm about to get to work. Seriously, get to work. I'm not gonna have a lot of time. But this is the first time that I've ever been in a city and I'm not exploring it via bar hopping. So I think it's a lot more colorful when you look at everything in a sober mind and a sober light. I feel like you appreciate it more. Now I have an apartment all to myself, and I built like a little studio thing. And I have a big kitchen with almost no utensils yet. I know how to cook in a kitchen commercially, but I don't really know how to home cook because I've never really had a kitchen to myself. So I'm teaching myself to home cook, and I'm starting to make some videos about it. I just got an air fryer. That's pretty cool. I'm definitely going to be keeping track of this YouTube thing, and I think I'm going to make a video about all the creators that I started watching that helped me get through all of my tough times, because they were a huge support, and it was really cool to be able to watch all these different people and learn so much from this platform. And the best books that I've read is, number one, the Bible, but also Meditations by Marcus Aurelius. It's a journal that he wrote about his own life and just him struggling with morality, what's right, what's wrong, mostly what's good and what's bad, and finding the definition between good and bad. And there's so much and so many one-liners in that book that have helped me with my mentality. Yeah, I did a lot on my own, but I know I couldn't have done it without Jesus. Without God, there's no way I would have been able to make this dramatic of a change, because I was all the way down and I'm about to become all the way up. And it's a traumatic transformation from what I was. And if you're feeling like you need to change, just remember that it all can start with you, and all you gotta do is move those pieces around and just start with like one small, tiny piece and change it. One of the things I like to do that motivated me, it's gonna sound weird, but I used to take shots of apple cider vinegar first thing in the morning. It was gross and it was hard to do, but it was a good reminder to be like, yo, you're trying to do better and turn up for yourself every day. So I would be like, bottoms up, whoop. And I hear it's good for your kidneys. I guess my point is, if you want to change, you can change. And it doesn't matter how old you are. If you're in your 40s, there's still a lot of life left. I think I'm gonna be at least 80, unless if, train, car, or whatever, but, I'm feeling pretty healthy. I just want to read something from Marcus Aurelius' Meditations. This is book 7, passage 18. Frightened of change? But what can exist without it? What's closer to nature's heart? Can you take a hot bath and leave the firewood as it was? Eat food without transforming it? Can any vital process take place without something being changed? Can't you see? It's just the same with you, and just as vital to nature. That was Marcus Aurelius.